empowerment and enrichment. And the purpose of our show is to celebrate and affirm and uplift the LGBTQ community above marginalized standards some in this society wish to inflict upon us. And this is our brick for reaching a broader audience and laying down some foundation. What's going on? We got Cherie Scott from SisterReach in the house. What's going on, Cherie?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Yeah, we got all that formality out the way. It's time to jump right into this thing.
Okay.
We got a little feedback kicking on up in here and trying to get this sound right. Can you hear it good?
I can hear fine. It's a little sound.
Little feedback?
Little something.
Okay, I got a little shallowness here. We'll get this fixed after this first commercial break.
No problem.
Yeah, but anyway, David, you have a rant today?
Yep.
Okay. We have this segment in our show where David will get 1 minute to rant. He got called 1 minute rant. What's on your mind, son?
I'm putting the Foot Home complex on the jackass wall because the soil contaminated. Everybody over there is going to be dead. I was over there one time. I'm going to be dead because the soil contaminated. It's really sad how they treat our black people in this country. They've been living on this contaminated soil for I don't know how long. So they can't tear the projects down because if they tear it down, they're going to contaminate everybody in this side of town.
But if you get that wrong, you should put City of Memphis.
Well, whoever built this.
EPA.
It is ridiculous. And also, we need to get the black churches and the black community involved. Shelby County is #1 in chlamydia and gonorrhea as of the other day. And #1 in the state of Tennessee for teen pregnancy. And all this sex and freaking started at age 19. And we got people who ignore the fact that young people have hormones and they're going to have sex. Older people too. And they don't want to talk about sex and they don't want to say anything about it. But our city and our county is suffering when you are in silence about these issues. So we have to put these issues out in the forefront and talk about sex, talk about environmental justice, talk about Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. You have to talk about stuff to get this stuff out here. And that's what's on my mind.
All right. You want to add something to this, Scott?
Oh, I'm in total agreement about, the fact that we absolutely have to be more unified in what we're doing. I just participated earlier this morning with an effort that was led by the National Coalition of 100 Black Women in Memphis, and they convened several women-led organizations and coalitions around the city, and we did a press conference this morning just to get out the vote, because the other part of this is if we're not registered to vote and if we're not voting, then, this is not going to matter anyway, because other people will be making decisions on behalf of us in our communities, and we won't have any say in what that looks like. So I know that, a lot of folks are, on the fence about, what's going on with the election and who we have as choices and all of those things. And I understand that. I really do. But what I want us to, really think about is if we don't have any say, if we don't show up at the polls because of whatever our personal whatever or, valid beef that we may have, it's still very important for us to, at the very least, vote for the candidate that most represents us and will not penalize our communities, who represents our interests most. That's what you need to be thinking about when you're going to the polls, and not just for the presidential piece, right? We need all of the elections.
Yes,
so, yeah.
yes. And, I saw a little bit of that when I got off work today, the press conference, and I really wish I could have been there. And I think it really shows an enlightenment and a conscious awareness that's being trickled down to just the common person.
Absolutely.
And not just people that's in social advocacy or that's in that circle.
Right.
So you're getting people motivated to want to join and maybe feel relevant because people are reaching out to them finally. They used to do that back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember when Bill Clinton was running. And I remember being part of the Young Democrat in Memphis back then, and when WW won, and we ran downtown and in front of the Peabody, and just partied in the middle of the street when we got rid of Mayor Hackett. It was on people's cars. I remember that. I was part of that then, and people got out when they used to run buses all through South Memphis, and people was picking people up in their cars and taking them to the polls. So we got to go back to those roots.
Right. Absolutely.
We got to get back out We got to rent some buses
That's
and
right.
charters and pick the people up because, you know, they even killed Memphis Transit Authority
Yeah, it's a mess.
from going into certain parts of the city. We got to go to the hood and get them folks.
Shout out for bus line number 31. We want to sign that petition and make sure we get that bus line back going. Bus line 31.
Is that that crosstown?
That's the one that you know, it services so many areas
Yeah.
and so many folks who are marginalized don't have a way to get around town.
I think it was intentional.
I used to ride I think it was the 13 Bowenshire. What is Bowenshire?
Yeah, he's going out there to Bishop
And
Burns.
something else I used to ride.
Bishop.
Yeah, I should send him out to Bishop Burns. He needed somebody with a ruler when he was in school.
Crazy. But yeah, please go early vote. Matter of fact, they said they had the largest turnout in history these first 3 days
I voted.
of people.
I'm going
See,
Monday.
I did not vote yet, but I'm
That's
going.
all right. I know y'all going. I know y'all are going.
Yeah, we going Monday. We gonna take my mama, and we gonna vote.
That's right.
But I wanted to piggyback a little bit off Davian when he touched on the foot home, and they knew what that site was before they put that project there. They knew what that site was before that land and how long, you know, that soil been they say if you don't disturb it, you know that soil been disturbed.
I mean, every time that somebody comes and cuts the grass,
Hello.
the soil was disturbed. I mean,
Hello.
we
Well, I
did
used to
an
play
event
over
there
there.
a couple of years ago. You know, wow.
It's gonna be interesting how this play out.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, like, you know, is there some type of legal defense that's happening right now? Because people have been exposed either way you go. You can say, you know, breaking the ground is breaking the ground. It's breaking the ground. So I am interested to see what that means.
On that. That's gonna be real interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I get in that class action.
Well, before we take our first pause for the calls, we're gonna let SisterReach tell why she is here today. Then we're gonna take our break. She's gonna come back and dialogue more about why she's here.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for letting me come again. It's always fun to be with you all. But I am here talking about our Reproductive Justice Summit and Community Forum that's happening next weekend. And it's going to be at Bridges, USA. That's 477 North 5th Street. That's at Bridges, 477 North 5th Street. We need folks to register right now. So what we're going to be doing is we're talking about sex education. You know, this is something that SisterReach has been working on since like 2012 when the law initially changed, where we were not able to teach anything other than an abstinence-based model throughout the state of Tennessee. Unfortunately, like you were talking about earlier, we have some high rates of gonorrhea and chlamydia. Now, mind you, that is in the entire country.
Absolutely.
Memphis has the highest rates of gonorrhea and chlamydia in the entire country, with young people starting between the ages of 15 and 19 years old. That's just the gonorrhea and chlamydia piece.
Right.
We're not even talking about HIV among 13 to 44-year-olds. We're not even talking about syphilis that still affects that same age group.
Yeah.
So we're talking about young people and young adults, and these are the exact people who do not have access on purpose, you know, by law in the state of Tennessee. And so what we're really talking about is Memphis is by and large a huge amount of that, holding 17% of African Americans in the entire state. So we're definitely going to have to talk about it. So this forum is going to be, first of all, it's going to have an opening plenary on Friday, where we're going to kind of talk about some of those intersectional things that perpetuate why young people have high rates of sexually transmitted infections and unplanned pregnancy. And wait a minute, and we're also talking about, you know, grown people, right? This is a generational disparity, right? So we're going to have our keynote speaker, who is the amazing Tammy Sawyer. She is the Director of Diversity and Leadership Development at Teach for America. She also ran in this past primary for Senate.
Yeah.
And you know, she didn't get in there, but you know, I hope she goes again because we support her in everything that she's trying to do for the community. We're nonpartisan, but what we are is supporting our constituents and for supporting you know, policies and folks who are trying to move on behalf of our communities and our lives. So what we're going to be talking about on Friday and Saturday. Saturday is when we really want community members to come out in rare form. We're asking for teens. We're asking for teen parents. We need our adult parents and concerned voters. And what we're going to be talking about is sex education in Memphis and how you can be part of the campaign to reduce unplanned pregnancies, sexually transmitted infections, and ensure that teens and college students have access to life-saving information for themselves and their families. So we're going to have a series of workshops. We're going to have LGBT-specific family workshop, because there is no education right now that is geared toward LGBT young people at all, right? It doesn't matter if you present as lesbian, gay, trans, bisexual, queer, gender non-conforming. There is no education, and we're missing an entire population of people, and that's absolutely unacceptable. Meanwhile, these same children are being put out in the street and are homeless and having to navigate living. So some of that looks like sex trafficking to live. We don't want to have a real conversation, but I know I can have a real conversation up here with y'all. So that's, you know, so that's what we're going to be talking about. SisterReach has had a campaign, CSE for Tennessee, that we've been working on for the last couple, 2 or 3 years, where we have been trying to mobilize voters, parents, and teachers around this, and young people around these health disparities. And we want folks to come out. We want people to come out. It's free. We want you to go register. We're going to have free lunch with registration, but you got to register. We're going to have free child care. We got the coalition called March. They're going to be offering free child care for us. And if you register now at SisterReach.org, that's SisterReach.org, you can be a vendor. We've got vendor spots still available. If you want a table, we have a $50 donation. We're asking for that. But if we definitely don't want to make it hard for up-and-coming grassroots organizations that want to get your word out. Just hit us up and let us know what's going on. We'd be more than happy to do a sponsorship table for you where you don't have to worry about the $50 fee. But we do want community groups that are small groups that are working in these communities every day to make sure that they are at the summit. So we've got some really great vendors who are going to be there, and we're going to have some awesome food trucks, and SisterReach is taking care of the lunch. So we just want you to show up, bring your children, bring your small children. They're going to be taken care of, and we're going to have a special workshop for boys. And where we're trying to roll out this Brother Reach segment of SisterReach, where we're just trying to do some sex education, some healthy conversation. We're going to be talking about consent. We're going to be talking about rape culture, but we're going to be doing that with the boys and the girls, right? So we just need y'all to come on out.
Well, we're going to take our first pause for the calls, and we'll come back and continue this conversation. This is the Unleashed Voice Radio Show, live, a show on KWAM 990. We're sitting here with Cherie Scott from SisterReach. We'll be right back after this pause for the calls.
Whoop, whoop.